is there a perfect time to buy a house? That is the question that we will get into over the next 8 to 10 minutes. Going to try to keep it 8 to 10 minutes. But first, I want to just say welcome to the channel if you're new. My name is Jake Boucher. I'm a realtor with Lamaki Realty in Leominster, Massachusetts, right in Central Mass. So is there a perfect time to buy a house? There's never a perfect time to do anything in life, and that includes buying a house. But I will say there is a much better time to buy a house during the year, pretty much every single year. And throughout this video, you're going to see some graphs, some data backing up that point for that time of year that's better to buy a home. And that time of year is fall, especially up in the Northeast. Fall has typically always been the most, if you're a home buyer, that is the time of year where you will have the most luck in finding a home, getting a good deal in that home, and just having more options for homes out there. Pretty much every single spring, so basically starting in February, so February, March, April, May, and then into June slightly, is when most buyers look for a home. So that's why fall is the best time of year to buy a home if you're a home buyer. Simply put, most buyers have found their home back in the spring, so March, April, May, June, they closed on their home. Then you get the buyers that had to renew their lease, or they simply just gave up on finding a home because they either got priced out or they were just not having any luck, and so they said, screw this, we'll just start looking again at some other point in time. And then fall comes around, kids are going back to school. Summer is like summer's a better time of year to buy a home. It's not as good as fall, but it's much better than it. Not, I wouldn't say much better, but it is better than the spring. So once you get into mid-June into July and then August and September, that's when you're going to start seeing the market really start changing, and we're seeing that already. So for example, Massachusetts right now, just got the data today, home inventory, so number of homes on the active market is 25% higher today, or this past Saturday when the data was pulled, than it was this time last year. So there's 25% more homes on the market than this time last year in Mass. Don't get me wrong, we're still low. We're still low in terms of inventory, but it's improving, all things considered. That gets into the summer market, like I just mentioned. We're at the time of year where there are more sellers beginning to put their homes on the market. With more sellers putting their homes on the market, guess what that means for you, the home buyer? That means that you have more options to choose from, right? So if you have more options to choose from, that means you're more likely to find some sort of deal. It's better odds of finding a deal. I already mentioned that a lot of buyers are out of the market by the time June comes around. So you're competing against less buyers. So right then and there, that's a great reason, if you are actively looking or you've been thinking about buying a home, to get out there and look in the summer and fall. So every single home buyer, I'm guessing, would want to find a deal on a home and compete against less people, right? I mean, who wouldn't? That's kind of a dumb question that I just asked, but that's the reality. It still baffles me why so many people go buy a home or look for a home in the spring. It's probably because it's the New Year's resolution to go buy a home. So as soon as January 1st hits, January 1st, believe it or not, is the most popular day for visits to real estate websites like Zillow, Realtor.com, and those types of sites. That's probably why, it's because it's a New Year's resolution to go out and buy a home, and that's why spring is so busy all the time. And people want to get their homes in before the summer, things like that. It's just human psychology. It's been happening for quite a while with spring being very, very hot. Some people have no choice but to wait until spring to buy a home, or wait until the dead of winter to buy a home. It really comes down to your personal circumstances as well at the end of the day. But I'm just saying fall is simply the best time of year to buy. Less buyers, more homes to choose from, which is a recipe for success. And I already teased, it comes down to your personal circumstances. Ask this question to yourself. What makes sense for you financially and personally? I'm not living your life. I tell that to my clients all the time, people that I just meet with. Like, I don't know your full situation. I'm not living your life. I'm not the one buying a home. I'm not the one with the money in the bank account debating if I should go out and buy a home. That's you. That's your life. You have personal circumstances. You might be getting a new job. You might be relocating to a new job. Your family size might be growing. You're expecting a big bonus at work, so therefore you can put more money down on a house in 3 months because that's when your bonus is expected. I don't know what's going on. So the whole premise of this video is to tell you that fall is the best time of year to buy a home, especially if you've been looking for, let's say, the last 6 months. You're having no luck. You put in 10, 12, 15 offers. None of them got accepted. Fall might be a much better time for you to go out and find that home, find that dream home, get a good deal on that home. Like, there's no guarantees in life ever, but you're gonna have better odds in the fall, especially up in the Northeast. And I mentioned earlier, people renew their lease for another year. Now, I talk to a lot of people that say, oh, my lease expires in, let's say, May, and this is back in March. I want to go find a home in the next month. So they don't find a home in the next month. Then they end up telling me that they renewed their lease because they couldn't find a home. So they've renewed their lease for another year. People think that's a good idea. In some cases, it is. Like I just mentioned, I don't know what your life is. But a lot of people, that's not a great idea to renew your lease another year because you're just going to be in the same exact situation again a year later, where you're scrambling to find a home again before your lease expires. And then once you can't find a home, you're screwed again. You're gonna have to renew your lease all over again. It's just a vicious cycle that keeps going and going and going. And that's just not always the best strategy to find a home. The reason why fall is the best time of year to buy a home, there's more homes to choose from. Typically, like mid-September through mid-October is when there's the most inventory, the most homes on the market at a time, and that like 3-4 week period. So you have that 3-4 week period to have the most homes at your disposal. Obviously, it comes down to what your criteria is and how narrow it is or how broad it is. So that is also a factor. But you're gonna have your most luck during that time period, especially leading up to Thanksgiving. One quick story before I leave. I had buyers that were actively looking for a home for about 4 months this past July through November. We got to the week of Thanksgiving. They went to an open house that Sunday. Not many people there at all. They reached out to me the next day saying they want to put an offer in on the property. That property was on the market for, I think, 4 days when they decided they wanted to move forward with an offer. Called the listing agent. They had no offers in hand. They were not expecting any offers in hand, which was a green flag for us. And it was Tuesday of the week of Thanksgiving. And I'm like, okay, Thanksgiving is 2 days from now. The sellers already were under agreement on their next home, which was closing in the next couple weeks. So I'm like, okay, there's a major holiday coming up. Sellers are motivated to sell because they don't want to carry 2 mortgages for too long. Plus, they're leaving the country in a couple days or a week or 2. Motivating factors for them to just get their home sold. So we went in under asking price with the home being in the market for 4 days, and we got the deal under asking price. Typically, that's unheard of to find a home and get it under asking price when it's been on the market less than a week, especially the way the real estate market's been the last couple of years, but it's possible. And that is an example as to why fall is the best time of year to buy. Home on the market less than a week, still get it under asking price. And it was a very, very beautiful home. Maybe this video convinced you to buy a home in the fall. I don't know. I don't know your personal circumstances. You might think that this is all sunshine and roses, but I've been showing graphs throughout this video and data to kind of back up my point as to why that's the case. So that's going to do it. I'm just stating what the market does typically every single year. You know, I can't tell fortunes. It could be different next year, but typically every single year, the market follows a very, very similar trajectory. So what's your personal situation? If you've been in the market for a while to buy a home, if you're thinking of selling your home to go buy another home, what's your timeline looking like for you? Kind of make your judgments based off of that. Fall, great time of year to buy a home. So that's going to do it. Please like this video if you got value out of it. Share it with some friend, colleague, family member that's thinking of buying or selling a home. And if they would get value out of this video, comment down below if you have any questions. Contact me if you have any real estate questions or need help buying or selling. Okay, I appreciate every single one of you that watched this video. I hope this was valuable to you. Just here to provide as much value as I can in your home buying journey or home selling journey. I don't know if I said subscribe to the channel, but if you could subscribe to the channel, that would be truly beneficial for me in the growth of this channel. So again, I appreciate you. I'll see you in the next video.